Fiona Harvey, aka the real-life Martha from the hit Netflix show Baby Reindeer, has come forward with yet another controversy. Recently, she appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored to share her side of the story and everything that she claimed to not be true from the show to try and get it publicly out there. Now, for the show, she was paid £250 to make an appearance, and the show has gone on to garner well over 10 million views. But recently, she has come forward and said that the £250 that she was offered was not enough, and she would settle for £1 million. That's right. So Fiona was quoted as stating, "They offered me £250 and I asked if that's what they paid everyone, and if so, I wanted to see documentation to that effect. The documentation has not been forthcoming, and I have not signed a contract for the interview, and I will be seeking far more than the piddling £250. I'd settle for £1 million. That is a huge jump, obviously, in price. Now, Piers Morgan did appear on Lorraine to kind of speak about it, and Lorraine posed this question to Piers Morgan, but speaking exclusively to the Daily Record on Monday, the Scots Law graduate revealed that her anger and after her appearance on this YouTube Uncensored show that made the host at least £250,000 already. The interview has been watched by more than 11 million viewers now, and will continue to generate revenue for Morgan every time it's viewed on his YouTube channel. But Harvey disclosed that she wants a larger share of the show's earning and will settle for 7 figures. Now, YouTube ad revenue is very finicky. What I mean by that is no two videos ever garner the same amount of money, even if they had similar numbers of views, because it's all about CPM, view duration, watch time, overall views, video length. It's very finicky. So for example, a video like Piers Morgan's, which was around 50 minutes, and you know, it would have had very good watch time because people would have wanted to watch all the way through to see everything that Martha would have had to say, or you know, Fiona Harvey. So I would have assumed that the CPM would have been around £8 or £9, possibly even pushing £10, which is extremely high per 1,000 views. All right, so you know, you can do the math. Obviously, that's going to become a lot of money. I think there's 10,000 thousands within $1 million, so you know, times 10 by 10,000, that's around 100,000, but they're claiming it to be around $250,000, so maybe the CPM is even higher. But of course, like I said, Piers Morgan was told that by Lorraine that, you know, Fiona Harvey is now demanding this sum of money within their interview. Now, I'm going to play the entire interview because there are a lot of other interesting questions posed. So Piers Morgan, my controversial interview with real-life Martha, Lorraine. So, I mean, obviously, you know, Fiona Harvey did say that she sounds a lot like Lorraine, and she is quite often said that she is like Lorraine anyway, so within the interview, so fun time. Because Baby Reindeer was obviously a phenomena in itself, and I think that if Fiona Harvey hadn't gone on to Piers Morgan, by now, this entire Baby Reindeer situation probably would have started to simmer out. It would have been up here. By this point, it'll probably be down here, and probably by next week, maybe even the week after, no one's talking about it anymore. But because of this interview with Piers Morgan, it's gone up here, then kind of bubbled down here, and then this has really skyrocketed it. Like, Netflix are probably being like, thank you, Piers Morgan and Fiona Harvey, for doing this, because you have just made this, again, one of the most popular Netflix shows of the week. Because everyone will be going, if they didn't hear about it, but they saw Fiona Harvey, they'll go and watch the show, then Piers Morgan, and vice versa. Like, together, they have made it an even bigger phenomenon.
You watch the series.
The interest goes up, Richard.
Now, just before they continue as well, I did mention this in yesterday's video, but to get in the UK, it's very difficult to get hold of any prison records or court records, because if you want to see someone's criminal history, for example, or any records of them going to prison, you have to request the documents be released through a court. The court then has to release it, but that doesn't mean that you'll get all the information, because due to the Human Rights Act, there may be parts of that documentation that could be redacted for someone's personal security or like basically privacy. So, you know, Piers could go around and get this information, but there's no guarantee that it will have her name in it. There's no guarantee that it will have her sentence in it. It's a very difficult one to maneuver, and it's, you know, you have to take at least 1,000 leaps and go through many loopholes to try and get hold of the documentation. It's not an easy task. This is exactly where the issue therein lies, because obviously at the start of the episodes it says that this is a true story. All right, like, that was one of the biggest parts of the show. The biggest selling point for this show was that it wasn't just a dramatization. This was a true story. And that's what Netflix and Richard Gadd promoted it as. A true story. It wasn't just based on a true story. There wasn't, you know, a true story with works of fiction within this. No, it was a true story. And then obviously the prison scene comes in and the sentencing. Richard Gadd has come out to say that, you know, that part was a dramatization for the show. But by that point, is it too little too late? Has the damage then been done to someone like Fiona Harvey's reputation? Even though we never knew who Fiona Harvey was before the show. So, you know, but they absolutely do. And for the same reasons that we've already covered earlier in the video, you know, the terminology at the start was clearly, if this is not true, then it was clearly wrong. And then there are grounds for suing for defamation. But, you know, I think Fiona Harvey, rightfully so, went on to Piers Morgan's Uncensored. He has a huge platform. You know, I think he was the perfect person to interview her, because he takes no shit. He dishes out a lot of shit, and, you know, he will, if he sniffs bullshit, he will call it out. And I think he was the perfect person. I don't think anyone could have done a better job, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, you know, Fiona Harvey's now one of the most talked about people on the planet. All right. And that's by her own choosing. She chose to go on the show. She chose to come forward. She chose to present herself and say that she was who was portrayed within the show. And even though she said that at the beginning that it wasn't her that was being portrayed, but then said that it basically was by defending all the actions. But, you know, at the end of the day, everything that's now coming out is by her own choosing, basically. Yeah, and, you know, obviously, in Piers Morgan, it'll be in Piers Morgan's favour to get Richard Gadd on, because, you know, you've got the popularity and you're riding high right now off of the back of that Fiona Harvey interview. If you get the opposite side of it, you know, you're on to another 10 million viewed video. But if you got them both on, yeah, that would break the internet. But obviously, right now, I reckon Netflix and Richard Gadd could possibly be like trying to cross their I's and dot their T's as much as they can. They probably won't come out and say anything at the moment until they know full well that they are in the green. If it was to go to court, they're probably dealing with lawyers and stuff right now as we speak. Because if this defamation case is looming, they want to know if they're in any trouble, if they're liable for anything. And at the minute, it looks like they could be, unless they can prove that the court sentencing truly happened. And obviously, you know, Fiona Harvey, she's going to be going to court, and, you know, within that court case, Netflix and Richard Gadd have claimed that they've got all of this evidence. They've got all the emails. They've got all the voice messages. They've got all the handwritten letters. They've got all the texts. And that will also all come out. So I think this is just going to get really fucking messy if it goes to court. Netflix are going to end up on a whim. Richard Gadd's going to end up on a win. Fiona Harvey's going to end up on... It's just going to... No one's going to win, but everyone's going to lose, basically. You know, Fiona Harvey's going to be exposed as a true stalker if these allegations are true, because all of that's going to come out. Netflix are going to be exposed as liars if what Fiona Harvey's saying is true and she was never convicted. Richard Gadd's going to lose all credibility as well. You know, it's going to get really messy. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. Until next one, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Can't wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.